why this model works. Have you ever noticed how most problem-solving approaches feel forced, repetitive, or overly complicated? I have seen that the best solutions don't come from working harder or thinking faster, but from thinking differently. Could it be that the reason so many discussions feel unproductive isn't because people lack ideas, but because they haven't been given a structured way to engage their best thinking? In my experience, the most powerful models don't force people into a single way of thinking. They create an environment where every mind can operate at its best. Isn't it obvious that when people are encouraged to think in a way that feels natural to them, they contribute more openly, more creatively, and with less resistance? What if, instead of trying to make everyone think the same way, we designed conversations to allow for multiple thinking styles to thrive simultaneously? I have seen that the best problem-solving models don't just produce better answers, they produce better thinking habits. Have you ever been part of a discussion where the ideas felt scattered, disconnected, or repetitive? What if the problem isn't that people aren't capable of deep thinking, but that they're never given a clear pathway to do it effectively? Could it be that the best solutions emerge not because people are pushed harder, but because they are given the right framework to unlock what they already know? And then there's the question of effortless engagement. Have you noticed that when a conversation is structured just right, people don't just participate, they flow? I have seen that when discussions move naturally between exploration, refinement, and decision-making, thinking becomes effortless. Could it be that the reason some teams struggle with engagement isn't because they lack focus, but because their discussions don't follow a natural cognitive rhythm? What if the key to solving complex problems wasn't about forcing clarity, but about allowing clarity to emerge organically? I've also noticed that the best models aren't just logical, they are deeply intuitive. Isn't it obvious that the most effective ways of thinking aren't the ones that are imposed from the outside, but the ones that align with how the brain already wants to process information? What if true intelligence isn't about memorizing more strategies, but about removing the blocks that prevent us from thinking effortlessly? Could it be that the best models don't make thinking harder, but actually make it feel easier? And what about long-term impact? I have seen that when people experience a model that actually works, they don't just use it in a single meeting. They start applying it everywhere. Isn't it obvious that the most powerful shifts in thinking happen not when people are taught new information, but when they are given new ways of seeing? What if the real power of a great problem-solving model isn't just in the solutions it produces, but in the lasting mental flexibility it creates? So the real question is, what if effective problem-solving wasn't about struggle, debate, or force, but about learning how to create conditions where the best thinking naturally emerges? Could it be that the reason this model works isn't because it's teaching people how to think, but because it's removing the obstacles that prevent them from thinking at their highest potential? And if that's true, isn't it worth asking, how much more could we achieve if we stopped pushing for answers and instead designed spaces where the right answers could find us? Conclusion. Have you ever noticed how the best insights don't come when you're forcing yourself to think, but when you're in a state of effortless clarity? I have seen that real breakthroughs happen not through pressure, but through the right kind of engagement. Could it be that the way we've been approaching problem solving, pushing harder, thinking faster, demanding immediate answers, is actually the very intelligence we're trying to access? In my experience, the most powerful solutions don't come from single minds working in isolation, but from the collective intelligence of people who know how to think together. Isn't it obvious that when people feel heard, when their ideas are refined instead of dismissed, and when different perspectives are integrated rather than competing, the best thinking naturally unfolds? What if the key to innovation isn't about finding one brilliant answer, but about creating an environment where many different answers shape something even better? I have seen that when thinking is structured in the right way, people stop struggling to find solutions and start seeing solutions they never expected. Have you noticed how a single shift in perspective can change everything? What if the biggest obstacle to smarter decision making wasn't a lack of intelligence, but the way we've been conditioned to think inside rigid frameworks? Could it be that the moment we start allowing more fluid, multidimensional thought, we open the door to effortless creativity and clarity? And then there's the issue of how we define success. Have you noticed how people often measure the quality of a discussion by whether they reached a conclusion quickly? I have seen that real progress isn't about speed, it's about depth. Could it be that the most valuable insights don't come when we force a decision, but when we hold space for the best answers to emerge? What if the real purpose of a great problem-solving model isn't just about finding solutions, but about changing the way we engage with uncertainty? I've also noticed that the most effective teams aren't the ones that agree on everything, but the ones that know how to work with their differences. Isn't it obvious that true collaboration isn't about alignment for the sake of efficiency, but about allowing different perspectives to create something better than any single one of them could have alone? What if leadership wasn't about who has the best ideas, but about who knows how to cultivate the best thinking in others? So the real question is, what if solving complex problems wasn't about thinking harder, but about learning how to engage with intelligence more effectively? Could it be that the most innovative breakthroughs, the smartest decisions, and the most transformative ideas are not the result of more effort, but of better thinking environments? And if that's true, isn't it worth asking, how much more could we accomplish if we stopped trying to force answers and instead learned how to invite them in?